The arena was massive. Its walls stretched high into the sky, made of smooth metal that seemed to shimmer and change colors with each passing moment. Thousands of alien beings filled the seats, their bodies twisted and shaped in ways no human would ever understand. They came from different planets, different star systems, but they all shared one thing: a love for watching battles. Jae-won stood in the center of this enormous space. He was small compared to the alien crowd. His body was lean and strong, dressed in simple dark clothing that looked plain next to the crazy outfits of the alien spectators. A single sword hung at his side, a katana that looked old and simple. Its metal was clean and well kept, but it didn't have any fancy lights or strange technology that most alien weapons had. Around him, the arena buzzed with excitement. Holographic screens showed his name and details. Jae-won Park, Human Representative, Earth Sector. The text read. Most of the alien crowd didn't know much about humans. They had heard stories, of course. Stories about a young species that had only recently joined the bigger galactic community. Stories that made humans sound weak and unimportant. At the far end of the arena, a platform rose slowly. On it stood Roken, the Veldarian Duel Master. He was huge, almost 3 times the height of Jae-won. His body looked like it was made of living crystal, with sharp edges that caught the light and threw rainbow colors everywhere. 6 arms moved around his body, each arm holding a different weapon. Energy blades hummed with power, changing colors from blue to purple to red. "Another human thinks he can fight," Roken said. His voice was deep and loud, carried by speakers that made it sound like thunder. "How many times must we teach you small creatures that you are not ready for real battles?" The alien crowd laughed. It was a strange sound. Some laughs were like metal scraping. Some were high-pitched whistles. Some were deep rumbles. But they all shared the same message. Humans were a joke. Jae-won didn't move. He didn't show any emotion. His eyes were calm, looking straight at Roken. The katana at his side seemed to be more than just a weapon. It looked like part of him, like something that had been with him for a very long time. A small robot flew to the center of the arena. It was the official announcer, its metallic body spinning slowly to face all sides of the crowd. "Today's special event," the robot said in a language everyone could understand, "is a traditional duel between Roken of the Veldarian Empire and Jae-won Park of Earth. The rules are simple. 1 weapon, no technology, first to submit loses." More laughter from the crowd. The rules meant Jae-won couldn't use any special technology. He could only use the sword he brought. Against Roken's 6 arms and energy weapons, it seemed like a death sentence. Roken's crystal body moved, and all 6 of his arms stretched out. Each arm held a different weapon. Some looked like energy blades, some like strange cutting tools, some like things no human could even understand. "Are you sure you want to do this, little human?" he asked. There was no kindness in his voice, only total confidence and a bit of cruel humor. Jae-won simply nodded. 1 simple movement. No words. No big speech about honor or pride. Just a quiet acceptance of the challenge. In the crowd, some aliens started placing bets. Betting machines lit up with numbers and calculations. 99.8% chance of Roken winning. 0.2% chance for the human. Those were not good odds, but Jae-won didn't look worried. His hand rested easily on the handle of his katana. This was more than just a fight. This was a moment that would be remembered. A small human against a giant alien warrior. A simple sword against impossible technology. A test of what humans could really do in a universe full of strange and powerful beings. The arena waited. The crowd held its breath. And somewhere, far away, people from Earth watched their screens, hoping their representative would make them proud. The first move came from Roken. It happened so fast that most of the crowd could barely see it. His 6 crystal arms moved like lightning, each one holding a different weapon. Energy blades screamed through the air, creating bright lines of blue, red, and purple light. Any normal fighter would have been cut into pieces in less than a second. But Jae-won was not a normal fighter. His katana moved almost by itself. It was like the sword was alive, like it knew exactly where to be before the attack even happened. The human's body twisted and turned, each movement smooth and perfect. Where other warriors would have jumped back or tried to block, Jae-won simply moved around the attacks. Roken's first attack was meant to end the fight quickly. 6 different weapons came at Jae-won from all sides. Each weapon was special. One looked like a spinning blade of pure energy. Another seemed to be made of something that wasn't quite solid. It changed shape as it moved. Some weapons glowed with strange colors that hurt to look at directly. The alien crowd stopped laughing. Something was happening that they didn't expect. Jae-won wasn't running. He wasn't scared. Instead, he looked calm. His eyes tracked each of Roken's weapons. His body moved like water, sliding between attacks that should have been impossible to dodge. Roken's crystal body changed color. Where before he looked bright and shiny, now he looked darker. His crystal skin started to show lines of worry. This was not going how he planned. Impossible, Roken growled. His voice was no longer sure. Now it had a bit of fear mixed in. The betting machines in the crowd started to change. The numbers began to shift. The 99.8% chance of Roken winning started to drop. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. Jae-won's katana caught the light. It wasn't a fancy weapon. It looked old. The metal had marks that showed it had been used many times before, but there was something special about how Jae-won held it. It was like the sword was part of his body. More attacks came. Roken tried everything. His 6 arms moved in ways that should have been impossible. Energy weapons created complex patterns in the air. Some weapons seemed to attack from 2 places at the same time. Others changed shape as they moved. But Jae-won was always just a bit faster, always just a bit more careful. The alien crowd started to get quiet. At first, they had been loud. They had laughed and made jokes about the human. Now, they watched with open mouths. Some of them leaned forward in their seats. Some of them started to record the fight with special devices. This was not what they expected. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to be new to space battles. Humans were supposed to be nothing compared to the big, powerful alien races. But Jae-won showed something different. His movements told a story of training, a story of practice, a story of understanding something deeper than just fighting. Each time he moved, it was like he knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. Roken's attacks started to get messy. Where before they had been clean and perfect, now they looked desperate. The Veldarian Duel Master was trying everything he could think of, but nothing seemed to work. The arena felt different now. The air itself seemed to change. What had started as a simple fight was becoming something more. This was no longer just about 2 fighters. This was about something bigger. This was about showing what humans could really do. Jae-won's katana continued to move. Simple, clean, perfect. And Roken began to understand that he might lose. Something changed in the arena. The air felt heavy. Everyone could feel it. This was no longer just a simple fight. This was becoming something more. Roken's attacks became wilder, more dangerous. His 6 crystal arms moved faster than most eyes could follow. Each arm held a different weapon. Some created sounds that hurt to hear. Others left trails of light that burned the ground where they passed. Jae-won did not move like a normal fighter. He moved like something else. Like he could see the future. Like he knew exactly where each attack would go before it happened. The first real clash came suddenly. One of Roken's energy blades, a weapon that looked like pure blue lightning, came down hard. It was supposed to cut through anything. Weapons, armor, even strong metal walls would break if this blade touched them. The alien crowd knew this. They had seen this weapon destroy many fighters before. But Jae-won's katana stopped it. Not just stopped it. The simple metal sword caught the energy blade and pushed it away. The sound was like thunder. Bright light exploded around them. For a moment, everything went white. When the light cleared, something amazing had happened. Roken's energy blade was bent, broken. A weapon that was supposed to be unbreakable now looked like a piece of twisted metal. And Jae-hwan stood exactly where he had been before, his katana held perfectly still. The alien crowd went silent. Some of the betting machines started to spark. The numbers were breaking. The computers could not understand what they were seeing. How could a simple sword do this? Roken's crystal body changed color again. Where before he had been bright and shiny, now he looked different. Darker. Worried. How? He asked. The word came out like a growl. Jae-hwan did not answer. He just watched. His eyes were calm. His body was ready. The katana seemed to move with him, like it was part of his own body. More attacks came. Faster now. More desperate. Roken tried everything. He used weapons that no human had ever seen before. Some looked like they came from different universes. Some changed shape as they moved. Some created sounds that hurt to hear. But Jae-hwan was always just a bit faster. His sword moved like it was alive. Each time an attack came, the katana was already there. Not blocking. Not fighting. Just moving. Like it knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. The alien crowd started to lean forward. Some of them stopped breathing. This was not what they expected to see. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to be new to space. Humans were supposed to be nothing compared to the big, powerful alien races. But Jae-hwan showed something different. Each movement told a story of practice, a story of understanding, a story of something deeper than just fighting. Roken's attacks started to look messy. Where before they had been clean and perfect, now they looked scared. The Veldarian Duel Master was trying everything he could think of, but nothing worked. The arena felt different now. The air itself seemed to change color. What had started as a simple fight was becoming something more. This was no longer just about two fighters. This was about showing what humans could really do. Sparks flew. Weapons broke. The ground itself seemed to shake with each attack. And through it all, Jae-hwan remained calm. His katana continued to move. Simple. Clean. Perfect. Roken began to understand something important. This human was not like any fighter he had ever seen before. This human was something else entirely. The first real clash had shown something amazing. A simple sword. A human fighter. Against all the technology in the universe. And the human was winning. Something special was happening. More than just a fight. More than just a simple duel. The arena began to change. Not with lights or sounds. Something deeper. Something that the alien crowd could feel but not understand. Jae-hwan moved differently now. Each step told a story. Not just about fighting. About something older. Something deeper. His grandfather had taught him. Years ago. On a small farm near the mountains of Korea. Long before humans knew about space. Long before they understood there were other creatures in the universe. A sword is not just a weapon, his grandfather would say. A sword is a teacher, a friend, a history book. Those lessons came back now. In this moment. In this fight. Roken's attacks continued. But they looked different now. Where before they were sure and strong, now they looked confused, worried. The humans' movements were not random. They were a dance. An old dance, something that came from generations of practice. Something that went deeper than technology or weapons. Each time Roken attacked, Jae-hwan's body knew exactly what to do. Not because of quick thinking, but because of muscle memory. Because of training that went back hundreds of years. His feet moved like they knew the ground, like they had been practicing this exact moment for generations. Left foot, right foot, body turning, sword moving. The alien crowd started to understand something strange. This was not just about Jawan. This was about all humans, about their ability to learn, to practice, to become better. Roken's 6 arms moved faster, more desperate, but each attack looked more and more like a mistake. The katana began to do something strange. It started to glow, not with technology, not with alien energy, with something else, something the machines couldn't understand. How? Roken shouted. His crystal body was changing color again, darker now, more worried. Jae-hwan remembered his training, not just sword training, but everything his family had taught him. Speed is good, his grandfather would say, but understanding is better. His movements showed understanding. Each step was perfect. Each turn was exact. The sword was not just in his hand. It was part of his body, part of his history. The betting machines in the crowd went crazy. Numbers changed faster and faster. The 99.8% chance of Roken winning was now something very different. Some aliens started to record everything. They knew they were seeing something special, something that would be remembered. Humans were not just new space travelers anymore. Humans were something else. Roken tried new attacks, weapons that looked impossible, attacks that came from 6 different places at the same time, attacks that should have cut through anything. But Jae-hwan was always just a bit faster, always just a bit more careful. His sword moved like it was alive, like it knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. The arena felt different. The air itself seemed to change. This was no longer just a fight between 2 beings. This was about showing what humans could really do. Generations of training showed in each movement, each step, each turn of the sword. Roken began to understand something important. This human was not like any fighter he had ever seen before. This human was showing something deeper, something that no technology could copy. A simple sword, a human fighter, against all the complex weapons in the universe. And the human was winning, not just winning, teaching a lesson. Everything stopped for a moment. Time seemed to slow down. The arena held its breath. Millions of alien eyes watched. Something big was about to happen. Roken's confidence began to break, like a glass statue slowly cracking. His 6 arms moved slower now, less sure. The energy weapons that had looked so powerful before now seemed tired, weak. Jae-hwan's katana started to change, not with technology, not with alien magic, with something deeper, something no machine could understand. A soft light began to grow around the sword. It wasn't bright, not like the crazy energy weapons Roken used. This light was different, soft, warm, like something that came from inside the sword itself. The alien crowd leaned forward. Their breathing stopped. Roken tried one more big attack. All 6 of his arms moved at the same time. Each arm held a different weapon. Some looked like they could cut through mountains. Some looked like they came from different universes. But Jae-hwan was ready. His body moved like water. Smooth. Perfect. The katana became a blur of motion. Not blocking. Not fighting. Just moving. Like it knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. The weapons crashed together. The sound was like thunder. Bright light exploded everywhere. For a moment, everything went white. When the light cleared, something amazing had happened. Roken's weapons were broken, not just stopped. Broken into small pieces, weapons that were supposed to be unbreakable now looked like nothing more than scrap metal. And Jae-hwan stood exactly where he had been before. Calm. Quiet. The katana held perfectly still. The betting machines went crazy. Numbers changed faster and faster. Something impossible was happening. Impossible, Roken growled. But his voice was different now. Not strong. Not sure. Scared. The human's movements told a story. A story of practice. A story of understanding. A story of something deeper than just fighting. Roken tried everything. He used weapons that no one had ever seen before. Weapons that changed shape. Weapons that made sounds that hurt to hear. Weapons that seemed to come from different parts of the universe. But Jae-hwan was always just a bit faster. His sword moved like it was alive. Each attack came, and the katana was already there. Not blocking, not fighting, just waiting. Like it knew exactly what was going to happen. The arena felt different now. The air itself seemed to change color. This was no longer just a simple fight. This was about showing what humans could really do. Some aliens began to record everything. They knew they were seeing something special, something that would be remembered for a long time. Roken's crystal body started to change color. Where before he had been bright and shiny, now he looked dark, worried, scared. Humans were supposed to be weak. Humans were supposed to be new to space. Humans were supposed to be nothing compared to the big, powerful alien races. But Jae-hwan showed something different. His grandfather's lessons came back. A true fighter, he would say, fights with more than just strength. A true fighter fights with understanding. Now, in this moment, those words made perfect sense. The katana continued to move. Simple, clean, perfect. And Roken began to understand something important. This human was not like any fighter he had ever seen before. This human was something else entirely. The turning point had come. A simple sword against all the technology in the universe. And the human was winning. Something big was happening. More than just a fight. More than just one human against an alien warrior. The other Guelderian observers began to understand. This was not what they expected. Not at all. Screens across the galaxy showed the fight. Millions of different alien species watched. Their eyes were wide. Their mouths were open. What they saw changed everything they thought they knew about humans. Jae-hwan moved like he was connected to something bigger. His sword was not just a weapon. It was a story, a history, a message from his people. On a small screen, far away from the arena, people from Earth watched. Simple people. Farmers, workers, soldiers, students. They all held their breath. This was more than just a fight. This was about showing who they were. Roken's attacks became slower, weaker. Where before he had been sure and strong, now he looked confused, scared. The arena itself seemed to change. The metal walls, the bright lights. Everything felt different, like the whole universe was watching and learning. Some alien observers began to take notes, not with computers, not with machines, with their own eyes, their own minds. They knew they were seeing something special. Humans are not what we thought, one alien whispered to another. The words spread through the crowd like a wave. Jae-hwan's movements told a story, not just about fighting, about learning, about growing, about understanding something deeper than just winning. His grandfather's lessons came back. Lessons from a small farm. Lessons from a time before humans knew about space. Lessons about practice, about patience, about understanding more than just what you see. The katana moved differently now. It was not just a weapon. It was alive. It was a teacher. It was showing something that no alien technology could ever understand. Roken tried new attacks. Weapons that looked impossible. Attacks that should have cut through anything. Attacks that had destroyed many fighters before. But Jae-hwan was always just a bit faster. Always just a bit more careful. The betting machines went crazy. Numbers changed faster and faster. What had started as a sure win for Roken was now something very different. Alien species from different parts of the universe watched. Some looked worried. Some looked excited. Some looked like they were learning something important. Humans were not just new space travelers anymore. Humans were something else. The sword began to glow again, not with bright light, not with crazy energy, with something softer, something deeper, something that came from inside. How? Roken shouted, but his voice was not strong anymore. It was scared. The arena felt different. The air itself seemed to change color. This was no longer just a fight between two beings. This was about showing what humans could really do. Generations of training showed in each movement, each step, each turn of the sword. Some alien races began to understand. Humans were not weak. Humans were not new. Humans were something special, something that could not be stopped by technology or power. The sword continued to move. Simple, clean, perfect. Roken began to understand something important. This human was not like any fighter he had ever seen before. This human was showing something deeper, something that no technology could copy. A simple sword, a human fighter, against all the complex weapons in the universe. And the human was winning. Not just winning. Teaching a lesson about human potential, a lesson about understanding, a lesson about something that went deeper than just fighting. The galaxy watched, and it began to change. Time seemed to stop. The entire arena held its breath. Millions of alien eyes watched. Everything came down to this moment. Jae-won stood perfectly still. His katana was more than just a sword now. It was a story, a history, a message from his people. Roken knew he was beaten, but he would not give up easy. His 6 crystal arms moved for one last attack. Each arm held a different weapon. Some looked like they could cut through mountains. Some looked like they came from different universes. But Jae-won was ready. His body moved like water, smooth, perfect. The katana became a blur of motion, not attacking, not defending, just existing, like it knew exactly what was going to happen before it happened. The final strike came slowly, but also very fast. One moment, Roken was attacking. His 6 arms spread out, weapons ready, energy building. The entire arena filled with light and sound. The next moment, everything stopped. Jae-won's katana touched Roken's crystal neck. Not to kill, not to hurt, just to show, to demonstrate. Complete control. No blood, no drama. Just a perfect moment of understanding. The alien crowd went silent. Completely silent. Roken could not move. His 6 arms were frozen. His crystal body stopped in place. The weapons that had looked so powerful before now seemed like nothing more than toys. How? Roken whispered. The word came out like a breath. Jae-won did not answer. He just stood there, calm, quiet. The katana held perfectly still against Roken's neck. The betting machines went crazy. Numbers changed faster and faster. Something impossible had happened. Screens across the galaxy showed the moment. Millions of different alien species watched. Their eyes were wide. Their mouths were open. On a small screen, far away from the arena, people from Earth watched. Simple people. Farmers, workers, soldiers, students. They all held their breath. This was more than just a fight. This was about showing who they were. The arena felt different. The air itself seemed to change color. This was no longer just a fight between two beings. This was about showing what humans could really do. Generations of training showed in this one moment. Each step, each turn, each breath. Some alien races began to understand. Humans were not weak. Humans were not new. Humans were something special, something that could not be stopped by technology or power. Roken's crystal body began to change color. Where before he had been bright and shiny, now he looked dark, defeated, understanding. The katana continued to rest against his neck. Simple, clean, perfect. Diplomatic rules were clear. In a traditional duel, the winner could do anything. Kill, destroy, humiliate. But Jae-won did none of these things. He simply showed control. One touch, one moment. Everything changed. The Veldarian duel master understood something important. This human was not like any fighter he had ever seen before. This human was showing something deeper, something that no technology could copy. A simple sword, a human fighter, against all the complex weapons in the universe. And the human had won. Not just won. Taught a lesson. A lesson about human potential. A lesson about understanding. A lesson about something that went deeper than just fighting. The galaxy watched, and it began to change. Jae-won stepped back. The katana returned to his side. Simple, quiet, like nothing special had happened. But everything had changed. Silence filled the arena. The kind of silence that happens when something big changes, when the whole world understands something new. Roken stood still. His crystal body looked different now. Before, he had been bright and strong. Now he looked broken. Not by weapons, not by force, but by understanding. Diplomatic rules were clear. The winner could do anything. But Jae-won did something nobody expected. He bowed. Not a big bow. Not a show-off bow. A simple bow. The kind his grandfather taught him. A bow of respect. A bow that said more than words ever could. The alien crowd began to move. Slowly at first, then faster. Some aliens started to clap. The sound was strange, not like human clapping. Some made sounds like metal hitting metal. Some made high-pitched noises. Some made deep rumbling sounds. But they all meant the same thing: respect. Roken had to speak. Diplomatic rules were clear. When defeated, the loser must acknowledge the winner. "You have shown," Roken said, his voice low and different from before, "something we did not understand." Jae-won did not answer. He just stood there, calm, quiet, the katana at his side. Screens across the galaxy showed everything. Millions of alien species watched. This was more than just a fight. This was a moment that would change everything. On small screens far away, people from Earth watched. Farmers, workers, soldiers, students, they all held their breath. The Veldarian Empire had to make a choice: accept what happened, or fight again. But everyone knew. The fight was over. And it was over in a way nobody expected. Not with blood, not with destruction, but with understanding. Some alien diplomats began to take notes, not with computers, not with machines, with their own eyes, their own minds. "Humans are different," one alien whispered to another. The word spread through the crowd like a wave. Jae-won's movements told a story, not just about fighting, about learning, about growing, about something deeper than just winning. The katana at his side seemed to glow, not with bright light, not with crazy energy, with something softer, something that came from inside. Roken's 6 arms hung down, no longer ready to fight, now just there, defeated, but not destroyed. The betting machines went crazy one last time. Numbers changed everywhere. What had started as a sure win for Roken was now something completely different. Diplomatic protocols demanded more. Roken had to speak again. "The Veldarian Empire," he said slowly, "will review our understanding of humans." Such words, from such a powerful alien race, because of one fight, because of one human. The arena felt different. The air itself seemed to change color. This was no longer just a fight between two beings. This was about showing what humans could really do. Some alien races began to understand. Humans were not weak. Humans were not new. Humans were something special. Something that could not be stopped by technology or power. Jae-won did not celebrate. He did not jump. He did not shout. He simply stood, calm, quiet. The sword continued to rest at his side. Simple, clean, perfect. A message had been sent, not just to Roken, not just to the Veldarian Empire, but to the entire galaxy. Humans were here. Humans were different. Humans were something to be respected. The galaxy watched, and it began to change. One fight, one moment. Everything was different now. The news spread fast, faster than any machine could send it, faster than any computer could calculate. Jahuan returned home, not as a hero, not as a winner, just as a person who had done something important. His small apartment looked the same old pictures, the same old furniture, the same katana hanging on the wall. But everything was different now. Screens everywhere showed the fight. News stations, information networks, alien communication channels. Everyone wanted to understand what had happened. The simple katana became something more than just a weapon, more than just a family treasure. It was now a symbol. People from Earth watched and understood something new about themselves. They were not just a young space race. They were something else, something special. Alien diplomats began to change how they thought. Meetings happened. Discussions happened. The Veldarian Empire started to look at humans differently. "We misunderstood," one alien diplomat said. The word spread across different star systems. Jahuan did not want to be famous. He continued his normal life, worked his job, trained, practiced, remembered his grandfather's lessons, but everything had changed. Other humans began to train differently. They looked at the fight. They studied every moment. They understood something new about themselves. The katana became more than a weapon. It became a message, a story about human potential. Alien races began to send different messages to Earth, not with threats, not with anger, but with respect, with understanding. Trade agreements changed. Diplomatic talks changed. The way aliens looked at humans changed. All because of one fight, one moment, one human. Jahuan's grandfather would have smiled. He had taught his grandson about more than just fighting. He had taught him about understanding, about respect, about showing strength in ways that did not need violence. News stations made documentaries. They showed every moment of the fight. Millions watched. Billions learned. The simple katana became a symbol in museums, not just on Earth, but on alien worlds, a reminder of something important. Humans were not just another species. Humans were something special. Years passed. The story continued to be told. On Earth, on alien worlds, in different star systems. The fight became more than just a moment. It became a legend. Jahuan continued his life. Quiet, simple, normal, but everything was different. When young people asked about the fight, he would smile. Not a big smile, a small smile, the kind that said more than words. Alien races continued to learn, to understand, to respect. The galaxy changed, slowly, carefully, but it changed. All because of one human, one sword, one moment of understanding. The katana continued to hang on the wall. Simple, clean, perfect. A reminder of what humans could do, of what humans could become. The story spread from one star system to another, from one world to another. Humans were here. Humans were different. Humans were something special. And the galaxy would never be the same again. One fight, one moment, everything changed. The legend of the human swordsman continued, growing, spreading, becoming something more than just a story. A message, a promise, a hope.